Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today for the second time, we're going to have a quick chat about the Forgebane box, because, firstly, there's been a little bit more information on the Warhammer community site, which I will link down below, and secondly, I want to issue what is essentially a correction, because I think I've been massively off when it comes to attempting to guesstimate or predict the price of this box. I think it's actually going to be way cheaper than I thought it was. In fact, most people seem to be thinking that it's actually going to be £95 or thereabouts. Essentially the same price as the Dark Imperium box, the same as the Blight War box that you get for Age of Sigmar. I honestly thought it was going to be more expensive than that, but there are a couple of things to support that idea. Well, I say a couple of things. There is one thing, and then if you take that bit of information and then sort of add up what is actually in the box, then I can actually see it. I can see it now costing less than £100, which is mental. That's crazy good. So let's just talk about some of the things that Warhammer community have said. This probably won't be a long one. I just want to update you on what we've already seen. The content's no different. What it actually is no different from what we said earlier, so that information is all relevant. It all still stands. But there's a little bit of funky lore stuff going on. The Adeptus Mechanicus have discovered the secrets of Blackstone, a mysterious material with the potential to neutralise the powers of chaos, or even amplify it to a horrific degree. Essentially, the Cadian pylons is what the Blackstone fortresses are made out of as well, I believe. The Adeptus Mechanicus now is looking at that stuff and going, oh, I see, this is interesting, and finding that it can neutralise the powers of chaos, or even amplify it. Now, I wanted to mention that specifically, because that could be a potential... It could be a potential build-up to actually seeing some sort of Dark Mechanicum thing go on. I'm not 100% convinced by that. I've seen that thrown around a fair bit where people are like, oh my god, it means Dark Mechanicus this edition. I don't know if that's true. It could well be that there will be expanded options, so you can just say, well, that's what this is. They now have their own faction, but all the rules are the same. I don't know. I wouldn't like to sit here and go, oh yeah, this clearly means that they're setting up for Dark Mechanicus. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but it does open up some interesting developments in the story, in the lore as a whole, for the Adeptus Mechanicus to actually start messing around with stuff like Blackstone and actually attempt to utilise things that are not strictly what they would normally deal with. You know, they are incredibly dogmatic and set in their ways. To see them explore out and try and utilise what is essentially alien tech is kind of interesting. They say conflicts such as these arising across the galaxy as more forge worlds are found to harbour ancient and terrible secrets. They also, very tongue-in-cheek, say that'll serve them right for building all their facilities on unusually ore-rich planets mysteriously devoid of all life. So this is pretty much, it looks like, going to be the start of a big arc, which would be, I assume, more Adeptus Mechanicus versus Necron. I'd be interested to see if we get some sort of like novel series out of it, where the Mechanicus as a whole is facing a crisis of finding that, hey, all of our forge worlds are set up on Necron territory. That's quite bad. That would be kind of interesting to see. I would hope that they do more with it, because again, a focus outside of Space Marines versus Chaos Space Marines is always nice, and two factions like the Necrons and the Adeptus Mechanicus going head to head, that's ripe for some really good stories. Now, okay, on to the price thing, right? So, and people pointed out as well that yes, the Canoptech cloak is, or Cloak of Canoptech, how do you pronounce, I think it's Canoptech, but I could be totally wrong. No one pulled me up on it in the previous video, so I'm going to stick with it. It is a new piece of war gear, as someone said, that it's, you know, they've never seen that before, and it allows them to skim above the battlefield and repair your units. So I'm guessing enhanced movement range and the ability to repair stuff. Seems cool to me. And as pointed out, because I actually got a message over Twitter where someone was like, is it definitely plastic? Yes, the Cryptek is definitely plastic. You can see the sprue in the previous images that we used. He is 100% plastic, and so will hopefully be more fun to work with than all of the resin stuff. Now, the price thing, because this is where the really interesting bit comes in. Although, actually, one other thing, the Armiger Warglaive, the smaller Imperial Knight that you get in the box, that is Lord of War. they say these guys will fit into your Lord of War slot neatly and make both the perfect accompaniment to an Imperial Knight you already own and a powerful option in their own right for any Imperium army. So they do seem to fill a Lord of War slot, and although I don't know whether that's necessarily a problem if you're doing like super heavy detachment with another Imperial Knight. I don't think that's really an issue, but yeah, they are Lord of War. Okay, the big thing, the best thing, the interesting thing, the even more interesting thing is the price. It doesn't specifically say what the price is in this article. Okay, it says Forgebane is a great place to start a Necron or Adeptus Mechanicus army, or both, and the set will cost you less than getting everything inside separately. And that's before you count the new Cryptek and Imperial Knight units. The phrasing on that is kind of important. The set will cost you less than getting everything inside separately, and that's before you count the new Cryptek and Imperial Knight units. So, as we said before, in this box you have got, and what we're going to do, we are going to ignore the new stuff for the moment. The new models, we're going to ignore them. They don't exist for the purpose of this little conversation right now. So, we've got a squad of Immortals, we've got a squad of Lichguard, we have a squad of Canoptek Wraiths, we have a Tech Priest Dominus, and we have Skitarii Rangers. Now, the cost of those 5 units combined is £115. I said in the previous video that this, I would be amazed if it went for anything less than 100. I'm guessing 130. Well, Warhammer community site, Games Workshop themselves, have now said it has to be less than £115. Because the contents of it are, the cost of it is less than the content before you even think about the Cryptek and the 2 new knights. So this could well be a box that is 95 quid, the same as Dark Imperium, the same as Blightwall, and yet contains £115 worth of stuff, even if you ignore the new models that are in there. Now, the Cryptek, I would assume, would be about 22 quid. That's how much the Tech Priest Dominus is, so I'm going to go with that as just a baseline price. Again, it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell with the knights. I've seen people saying as low as 25 quid. I've seen people guessing as high as 50. I put them around 50 myself, personally, when I first saw it, but it might be cheaper than that. It's not easy build, and it's not monopose or anything. It looks like they have, it's a full kit, so I would expect it to be a bit more expensive. But regardless of how much those are, that's already pretty much a pretty good saving before you get to that stuff. This could be a box where the total cost of everything, if you bought it outside of it, is like 2 times more than what you're actually paying. I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility. So, I mean, that's good. That's really, really good. If it is 95 quid, this is a ridiculously good value box. I mean, obviously, a lot of that does depend on how much the knights will cost, but even by itself, like, it's hardly shoddy, It's hardly shoddy. 95 quid for 115 quid's worth of stuff is hardly terrible to begin with. When you add in the fact that that's not even talking about 3 of the units in there, all, 2 of which, 3 units, but 2 of them are the same. These are new sculpts. These are new models with presumably new rules. That's a bit crazy. That's really good. So, I'm hoping that it does come in at 95. It'll sell ridiculously fast. It will disappear off the shelves at the speed of light if it is 95 quid, and it'd be a great way to start both armies, as they point out, which I think is probably part of the big draw of this. If they do make it that cheap, as someone in the comments of the previous video pointed out, it could well be a bit of a lost leader thing, where yes, you are getting a lot of model for your money, but it also gives you a pretty solid basis from which to build a Necron army and an AdMech army. I can't really complain about that. I'm not going to lie, I can't really complain about that. And if you don't want half of it, you can always eBay it. If you can't find someone to split it with, you can always just chuck it on eBay, which of course a lot of people will do. If this turns out to be 95 quid, and from what they've said, it should be less than 115 at the very least, that's ridiculously good, and just makes me more excited for it. Because it means they're putting stuff out there at really decent prices in order to try and get people in, which is exactly what we want, exactly what we need. So yeah, that's it. A little bit of update for you. Sorry for making a video on the same subject twice in the same day. I'll try not to do it again, but I felt like it was important to let you know the new stuff and also to correct myself on what I said before. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think down below as to what the price might well be. Do you think it is 95 quid? It'd be ridiculous if it was. Thank you very much for watching. I've already said that. Click all the things, you know what I mean, and I'll see you for the next one. Toodaloo.